Game 1 in a brand new best of 3. You guys are watching the Olimoleague. Big thank you to Pig for hitting us up with that resub. One of the smart guys who comes for replays all the time. But don't forget that if you want replay packs and other cool benefits from the Olimoleague, the only way to get access to those is through the Patreon, patreon.com/Olimoleague. Crowdfunded tournament for over 2 years now. Keeping strong every single month. Top right, though, we got the blue Terran player. We just saw him take on a Zerg. Now he'll take on a Protoss. It's ByuN.
In the bottom left, as the red Protoss, it is Classic.
All right, Classic. You sending that probe across the map. Is this guy just for scouting, or is this guy for some classic cheese?
He does have 2 gases and not going for a Nexus back at home, so it's going to be something.
He's got 2 gases and a reputation. I guess that's what the second probe's going to be for here. So just scouts at the first one. I mean, Classic, as much as we like to joke about it, him and Hero have really been pushing the boundaries in terms of like Protoss abuse. And I'm not even trying to balance wine about it, guys. It's just straight up cool watching the way that they've been able to make cheese work for them. And sometimes it's so dedicated that it backfires, but more often than not, it works out really well.
Yeah, so I think it's a smart move to go for a proxy target on Acolyte. The chances that they're going for a CC first is still not very high. Just it's not like a very... Yeah, it's higher than any other map that we have right now. And even if they don't go for a CC first, because CC first actually gives you like a decent amount of marine production if you go for 3 barracks beyond it, it's still like you're right up against that natural. They won't have a Widow Mine buried even if they went for 1-1-1.
Well, ByuN does a style that used to be CC first into 3 barracks, but now he does this one with a reactor instead. I kind of like this a little bit more. It gets his tech movement in, but not
in this
producing
situation.
Anything.
Yeah, it's like if Classic went for a Nexus, then sure, you can like this as much as you want. But the lack of production is quite crucial.
He still might just barely have enough out to cover this. I mean, the reactor pump at times can be a big deal. But for those who don't know, here maybe you're newer to StarCraft, it takes exactly 6 Marines. 5 Marines perfectly microed, that's not going to cut it. Like, you need 6 Marines to take on this Oracle, which, by the way, is like this souped up Ferrari Cole, because he's got that really cool war chest skin.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. So the fact that ByuN went for a command center first does mean I guess he has a little bit of leeway to lose some SCVs, but this proxy Stargate into maybe even a couple of units at the front, like this has the potential to do entire mineral lines worth of damage because it's going to be followed up by a second Oracle, and he knows there's not going to be a Widow Mine because he scouted in the main base and saw an extra barracks. So he actually is going to go for the kill, like just try and get all of the army dead and gone, and then go for the SCVs.
Cancels the reactor that was almost done just in favor of getting the Marines out that few seconds sooner. And it's kind of a necessity, but this still might already be too much. Yeah. I mean, this first Oracle's out of energy, and the Adept is going to get killed by the Marine/SCVs, but then, you know, Oracle number 2 comes in. Oracle number 3 comes in.
That's right, and you know the second Oracle gets a couple more SCVs, the Oracle gets a couple more SCVs, but then he has enough Marines. Well, then now there's 3 Oracles that are ideally still alive that, you know, can definitely take on even a large number of Marines. So he realizes there weren't 6, but 1 just popped out. So he actually made a mistake there. Has to back off with that one.
That being said, having killed 9 SCVs so far is really not bad. He knows he also messed with the flow for ByuN because of the fact that he had to cancel reactor. Money's so tight now as he finishes up +1 that there's no factory on the way. There's not going to be a fast medevac or even a Viking coming out anytime soon.
Yeah, it's great that he got Sim already started, and you know that's just the time. There's no more minerals after you start it, but there's nothing really to complement it without the medevacs. I didn't even get to hear what that missile turret is done. That's just painful.
Mother of God, these Oracles won't die.
Yeah. Well, as you say it, oh my God.
12 kills on one, 11 on the other, 3 on the new one.
Just too much space in Acolyte. The fact that they're all alive is actually really scary because ByuN doesn't know what's following this up. You know, it could have been a natural. It's probably a natural base at this point in time. There hasn't been a main attack following this up immediately, but is there a third base? Is he just, you know, delaying the attack, waiting for a gateway to finish? Is he continuing? Is he going for mass Oracle versus Terran? And that's what he's doing. It's a 5 Oracles now.
3 Nexus. Gets away with so much back at home. I mean, 14 SCVs, 16 Marines, so much minerals in the hole for ByuN. But all of that considered here, if he does clean these up, his potential to do a run-by counterattack is actually so scary.
Oh.
Oh no, well, combat shell's getting denied, maybe not quite as scary.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice pickoff. Obviously, Stim, the longer upgrade, and usually more important. It would have been nice too, but combat shield's great.
He doesn't save the reactor. He needs that. It takes way too long to build a new one.
Oh yeah, that really sucks. So, gonna be limited on production once again. ByuN is just holed up in his main base, and it's like, that's all well and good. He tried to go for a CC first, but that has not really paid off after losing 15 workers. And Classic, you know what, for a third Nexus, he's got this really nice economy going now. Doesn't have like the strongest army either, but he's just delayed ByuN's push so much.
So someone in chat saying that the new Oracle skin looks like Megatron's head. And oh my god, I could totally see that.
Yeah. Just find the rest of them somewhere, I guess.
You found me for the last time, Starscream.
I know, like, Transformers has, like, my friend is actually a huge Transformers fan. She reads, like, all the comics and watches all the shows. But all I think of is the movies, of course, because, like, I'm not in that fandom. I always cringe when I think of Transformers.
Wow.
I know. I feel bad. She's, like, such a huge fan. She's like, it's amazing. You gotta read it. Nah.
What's interesting is I would actually be sooner to scoff at Transformers than, say, Beast Wars. I actually fucking love Beast Wars, dude.
Oh, I loved Beast Wars. Yeah, for sure. Never much a fan of Transformers, even like when it was the old show or reading into the comics that I have. But no, I like Beast Wars a lot.
I just know that the last couple of Transformer movies had like Mark Wahlberg in it out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf, you know, went off, you know, did the crazy things.
He
so
started
he
planting flags all over the world. Capture the flag with 4chan, dude.
Yeah. He also punched a Nazi, so started the trend, man.
You know, with how things have gone now, in retrospect, was he really the crazy one?
I know, right? It's so. I mean, that was actually. Everyone was like, "Oh yeah, thumbs up Shia LaBeouf," and they did other crazy things. And they're like, "Oh right, he's actually kind of weird." Thumbs up for that one. This
is possibly a cool attack. Classic's only gonna have like the overcharge, but as we can see, those get taken down very quickly with this many Marines. So big attack in the main, all in over here. Turrets and Marines gonna try their best to defend. I don't think he's gonna hold this.
Okay. That's just so many oracles. If most of them die, you can't even take out the missile turret. This is a little bit closer than Classic was hoping for. Just Stalkers doesn't usually hold up that well, but there's not many units left over. He needs one more warp, and he doesn't have it.
You know what? ByuN's actually done so much damage on the other side of the field. He might actually be starting to even this up.
Maybe. 3 Nexus is, of course, something to be considered, but ByuN is taking out the probes, so it's really equalizing.
He's on top of the Stalkers, too. I mean, this is something where ByuN would have been so far behind this game. He gets the medevacs out alive, leaves the Marines behind. I love it. Nobody could have held that attack but him, and nobody could have simultaneously dealt enough damage to viably stay in the game but him.
You know, if there wasn't that missile turret right there, that might have been game over. If there were 4 overcharges compared to 2, maybe that's enough burst damage initially to save that drop from doing this much damage. As I said, Classic's still on 3 Nexus, but ByuN with 2 base and 2 mules is actually quite even on the economy.
And it's not, for me, it's not even a balance of economy. I mean, Classic is fairly all in, so to speak, right? Like, there's no real upgrades coming for him. He's sitting there on Blink as his only tech path. And granted, it's not like he's without the ability to fight, but I think Stim Bio beats up Marauders most of the time. And, you know, that attack from ByuN across that was just a small handful of Marines. Pair that up with some Marauders, and these Stalkers are going down.
Yeah. Classic needs a better economy to make more kind of garbage units here. Just Blink Stalker up against the Bio, and he just doesn't have it.
Okay, so second Widow Mine doesn't go off because the Mothership Core was on point with the overcharge, but as a consequence, ByuN gets on top of the Stalkers. He's actually the one who wins the game. What in the? It's been too long since we've seen ByuN Zombie Grub. I can't even.
So. That is definitely I mean, Classic was so confident he was going to win with those mass oracles. That was also certainly on him.
I don't believe what we saw. Frankly, like, I know it happened. We have proof that it happened. I don't believe that just happened.
Classic also probably a little bit in disbelief. Like, I don't understand. Mass oracles work out so well against her.
I mean, I'm sure there are people like, oh, Rifkin, the heresy, right? It's ByuN. How could you not believe? And don't get me wrong, I believe in ByuN. I always believe in ByuN. But sometimes, even then, you're just like, this is too much.
Yeah, with a game like that, you believe in his 2-1 comeback, not in winning that game. What a guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's the next map here?
Ooh, Abyssal.
Okay, cool. Got the intro queued. This is gonna get our YouTube VODs muted, and Joey's gonna super love that I'm playing intros. But that's okay, because we don't make any money on YouTube anyways. It's great.
Hey.
You wanna know how much money we've made on YouTube in the past 4 months?
$15?
$0. Not even a penny, and I'm not even joking. I've been paying Joey out of pocket because I feel bad. Like, just... Anyways, we're getting into Abyssal. We'll see you guys in game.
The Vespine is always greener in somebody else's base. You dream about blowing up theirs, but they have a real good race. Just look at the map around you, right here on Abyssal Reef. As ultras and links around you, so make like a tree and leave under the sea. Typing GG, darling, it's better typing those letters. Take it from me.
Game number 2 kicks off here in the top left with our blue Terran player ByuN, currently leading 1-0 after just a phenomenal game.
And in the bottom right is the red Protoss. It is classic. I feel like that was kind of taken away from me.
I do too, but here's the thing, right? Like, ByuN, I honestly do not know that there's another Terran player in the world that could have taken the same damage that ByuN did early on and even just stuck in the game, much less find a way to bring it back. I mean, 14 workers, 16 Marines, something like that, right, was the early game kills, and Classic hadn't lost a single unit other than an Adept. So everything should have just been like this insane, crazy snowball. And I think when we think of insane games, or the games that you really remember, like months after they've happened, they're usually the long games. It's like, oh my god, there was nukes flying and carriers, it was crazy. For me, it was just like watching Classic, somebody who was like one of the top of the line cheesers, one of these guys who gets away with these all-ins more often than not, get the most benefit that he possibly could out of the early game and still lose. Like, that blows me away.
Yeah, most Terrans just die with the proxy Oracle. They don't, you know, they don't barely have the missiles done in time. They don't barely have enough Marines. They panic or something like that, and it's bad news. ByuN really had the worst build to go up against that, with adding on the reactor and tech lab and a later third barracks. If you go 3 racks, it's actually a decent amount of production if it's one at a time, and you're really worried about a follow-up gateway all-in more so. But with that, like, the Oracle should have been able to deal game-ending damage, and I really feel like they technically did. Like, that was so much damage, but Classic just, you know, being kind of brazen, going in with Mass Oracle Stalker, of all things. Stalker's just not exactly the buffest, greatest unit. Certainly Blink Stalker all-wins can be scary, but those are usually controlled very, you know, there's a lot of finesse to it. They're picking off key units. They're taking their time. Classic was like, well, I can clearly just blink into a mass bio-army and win. Obviously, he was wrong. And Blink Stalkers just don't have that comeback potential like Adepts do, shading through, causing more damage. He just kind of, you know, he even lost most of his Stalkers in the defense, because 16 Marines are good against Stalkers too. Maybe that wasn't the right unit to follow up with.
Yeah,
actually,
I guess
I'm surprised he went for Blink Stalkers.
I think for him, the threat of the Medivacs was more prevalent than the Marines, and thus I can understand the Blink Stalkers, but it is one of those things where you also just probably don't expect like 1-1 Marines to be that good, you know? Like, you know they're going to be good, but that good.
Well, it really is like, well, I feel like Classic, which is like, well, I have such a surplus of units. This is exactly when Blink Stalkers work, you know? Like, this is exactly when they do better, when the Terran is kind of crowded into their main base, and I can poke away. But again, he didn't really poke away. He just kind of ran in and thought, even with a missile turret, that would be fine. And It just, coupled with the drop, of course, it wasn't just the defense at home. It was both things at the same time that really brought ByuN back. The Classic hopefully isn't too stuck on that last game. One of the most difficult things is actually just to kind of wipe the slate clean. You're too busy thinking about what went wrong in the last game. You don't pay attention to this one. It goes bad. So he's just got to be worried about what this Oracle can do and stop worrying about the mass Oracles last game.
It's not going to get much, though. There's plenty of Marines out to drive this off. And more to the point, because this wasn't proxied and timings, etc., not to mention build order, I mean, look at this. There's Widow Mines hidden here. There's one on the cliff face. It's going to catch that Oracle. I mean, this is peace of mind for ByuN. Not a care in the world. Easy freaking peasy. I was just going to note, by the way, because we are going to be, we are, with the matches we're following, behind on the bracket, so to speak, folks. So we do have a lot of folks already advanced into the round of 8, while we are still in the round of 16 just starting, right? Winner of this goes out to fight against Stats, though, and I think we're probably going to keep following this side of the bracket because it's just lining up perfect for sick games. But Neeb plays Creator. Gumio versus Solar would have been a great match to see. And then Billowy plays eventually Hero or Sue. The Olimoleague has just been so stacked these last 2 months. I'm not sure what the magic mojo is, but it's been like the best turnouts of all 2 years combined in these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, of course, very happy to see it, but it is just kind of like the European Cup, Corsair Cup also was a pleasant surprise after being kind of down about the participation in the last month. It's done quite well, so I don't know. It's like, you know, summer might not be the best month for viewers, but maybe it's great for pro gamers. Obviously, some of the guys that are more focused on school get to focus here, but I think it is just, you know, a lot of the Korean, I was like Korean Terrans, which is like such a habit, right? A lot of the Koreans are like, yeah, maybe we should be playing in all these online cups. Whereas I think a year ago, they weren't saying it.
Side note, by the way, that Widow Mine is the same one that killed the first Oracle.
That's a good Widow Mine.
That'll do, pig. That'll do. Well, it's that same Widow Mine that's marching across the map. Now, I don't think this guy's gonna get away with much, but maybe like a ling round bite type thing. He'll just catch Classic while he's not looking, and that Widow Mine, see how nasty it might just be. Yeah, he's actually moving in with it, but Classic was looking. Overcharge pops it off. Rest in peace, dude. Tank's gonna be good for this attack. I kind of forgot it's Abyssal Reef, so you get this positioning down here. I think it'd be so sick. Shut down some pylons, push off some of the mining even.
So maybe the Classic technically has like a concave setup, but it's not with the best units. They're not really complementing each other. That army to the top is actually a lot of sentries, and the tanks, the Widow Mine, just gonna take care of it.
I mean, even for ByuN going down, which he isn't necessarily, he still trades out really well on the way out because he kills all the sentries. Such gas-expensive units.
Yeah, that would have been, I think, a lot better had the Stalkers been a little more mixed in with both armies.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he loses like a lot of those gas units and needs to maybe replace at least one sentry for a Guardian Shield later on. But he does hold. The tanks don't take away his economy at all, actually. You know, he dealt with it pretty swiftly.
Oh, this is feels bad, man. His +1 just finishes up after the fight's all said and done. Because that's definitely a way you got to mix his units in there and spread them better, right? Blink around and get in position, but starts charge up immediately afterwards. So hopefully we're not going to see Classic in such a bad spot for too long, but his army supply is down. And I think right now his goal, you know, get some fodder out, sure, but eventually get to those Colossus, and those feel so far away right now.
Yeah, I didn't really talk about the choice of Blink Stalkers again here. Like, last game, it did feel like, probably to Classic especially, like, kind of follow up with a lot of things, and Blink Stalkers were the priority because he was worried about the ultimate comeback tool of Terran, which is like medevac drops. But this game, he had a Stargate opener immediately into Blink, and that's usually kind of redundant. You can actually get away with either, of course, going Phoenixes for your anti-air and getting Charge and Resonant Glaives, or trying to just get away with like Mothership Core Defense and going for, again, Charge or Resonant Glaives with Oracles just flying around seeing where the army is. To actually get Blink, I think, first is still a little odd. That would have been worrying, especially with a tank push, but obviously not with a tank push okay, and he's getting to Charge okay, so it doesn't really matter what he opened with. And now they're going to complement the Colossus.
I mean, I think these Colossus are going to do great, but
Yeah.
it's one of those things where they're only going to do great for a little bit. Liberator's already out in pretty full force, and it looks like he's going towards Liberator range, so there's that Colossus Liberator dynamic. But beyond the Colossus, without Storms, without Phoenix, I don't know. Pushing into those Liberators seems like it's just never going to be an option.
It'll be difficult, but we have seen that dynamic. It's really hard to say any words like really a counter, but
Boys?
we'll get around it. The Colossus can help against Liberator pushes as long as they're not in a certain amount of Liberators. But it was such a late. It's double Robo Colossus, but at a later time, obviously, only coming out as the 4th base is already done, and he is mostly still dependent on Stalkers because he used his charge out warp in with that Warp Prism, so it's like a little worrying right now. He's holding his 4th base.
Yeah, Liberator gets in there and does a little bit of probe damage, nothing too crazy. He knows about these Widow Mines, actually. There's been an observer over top of the army the entire time. If you were to scan this, that would actually be really beneficial. Because Classic, even if he does choose to blink in, he's not going to be able to fight the Widow Mines properly. Like, he's going to blink in and focus on the Liberators.
Yeah. The Widow Mines are really the problem here. That's, it's actually a very respectable bio army with 1-1 and a lot of Marauders. But I think if the Widow Mines weren't there, then he is already trying to blink in and kind of nip this in the bud because the growing Liberator count, maybe they also get Liberator range, it's a problem. But it looks like ByuN is just going to respect Classic's army here and be the one to leave.
Respect.
Yes.
You've been hanging out too much with rapid casting. I don't like it.
Wait, why?
I just who is it that he Wolf or whatever? I feel like there's this transitional rub off on you now. Respect the army, respect the Void Rays, respect ugh.
I didn't realize he said that a lot.
No, rapid.
I don't know.
doesn't.
I didn't never pick that up.
Well, regardless of my lame joke here, we do have Liberator range finishing up. He's already got +1 weapons, which is not that big of a deal, but +2 weapons is, because that starts changing how many shots it takes to kill certain units. And right now, oh, that Colossus gets obliterated. I've never seen a Colossus corpse float away before. Okay.
Yeah, that was a mistake by Classic. And you're right, that +2 will change how many shots takes out a Stalker. I'm not sure it affects any other unit, but definitely a Stalker and Classic, of course, still with a very large Stalker ball, would take some serious damage from that. So ByuN has successfully gotten to kind of mass Liberator at this point. He's going up to 11 now with upgrades. This is where Classic might really need to think about Tempests.
Right. I'm actually not such a fan of the Tempest here. I think that it's slow and expensive and the range is good, but we've just been seeing more people use these Phoenix/Anion Pulse Crystal combinations that I have just been, like, it's a bit late to transition to now, but I've been loving. I've just been absolutely loving when we see people play that style.
Yeah. Well, this is a very awkward fight. The Liberators get on top of the army when Classic wasn't ready, so a lot of damage done by them.
There's a drop that goes on up here too through the Warp Prism. Liberator sets up down to deny some probes, and while this goes on, ByuN decides to push in. Unfortunately, though, he's not doing his leapfrog tactics, so it just kind of walks into a bunch of Colossus fire and has to back the heck away.
Alright, so some revenge for Classic. ByuN will have to entirely retreat back to his 4th to get a better setup. He's going to have +2 ship weapons with this attack. So Classic has to be careful when he decides to blink in. If he decides to blink in, doesn't.
So I do like that he is continuing the Liberator production. I think that at this point, if you see Vikings come out, it's more of a desperation thing. But I do wish we'd see at least one, deal with these Warp Prisms, right? Have the Viking just respond. Liberators, as we see, can deal with it, but it takes a very long time. Push down here to the south, and while we're looking north, and so is ByuN, so he wasn't quite ready for the attack. Liberator sieging up a bit late as this army gets broken, but with the reinforcing Liberators, Classic has to back away.
Yeah. I wonder if Classic was clicking on the Liberators to see that they did in fact have +2. It's really not that quick of an upgrade for most Terrans. ByuN really put a lot of emphasis on Liberators, so the amount of them was probably a little shocking, but it does happen. But then also to have +2, perfectly timed out for that one push, maybe also something Classic wasn't expecting. And that does heavily change how, 5-6 Liberators take on even, 15 Stalkers. That suddenly makes the Stalkers look quite useless.
Not to mention the way they'll be much harder to clean up. Like, ByuN keeps sending 1 or 2 Liberators off to the sides of the map, right? And he's trying to drag around and like kill some probes, and I guess this is to deny a base eventually. But like to blink in and deal with this Liberator, it takes a couple extra stalkers when they get shot like this. But the overcharge will do for now.
Yeah. Other Liberator decides not to be super awkward. No, it's just staying there. Just kidding. But a third one goes to the 4th base of Classic and gets a couple more kills. Classic not paying attention now, does pull the probes, but more focused on this main attack.
Yeah, Storm's actually hit the bio here really good. This drives off all support for the Liberators if they do get taken out. New ones coming in, but most of them have been removed from play already, and the unfortunate, the Immortals bust through the Planetary.
Yeah. Looks like ByuN just didn't have all of his army together enough times. There's certainly quite a few engagements where the Liberators are coming in one at a time.
He's about out of anti-air at this point.
Yeah, but he's out of anti-air while still holding on to 5 Colossus, a couple of Immortals, and Orbing on High Templar, so...
GG.
Yeah, but actually just... Alright.
It's so funny to me that Classic can't win the game he cheeses ByuN, but he wins the game he macros ByuN. Because it's just, for me, the opposite of Classic.
Yeah. It's true, but Classic isn't bad at macro. It's just...
You should shoot up. That's all I'm saying.
That game, maybe.
If they shot up, shoot a Warp Prism would be nice. Concussive shot on a Warp Prism, slow that shit down. Satan, thank you for the $20. Comes in to say thanks for all the amazing shows. Well, thank you for the $20. We appreciate it. Halfway to our food goal for the day. Gonna go to commercial break real quick though. We'll be back in 2 minutes with game number 3, Classic versus ByuN. All right, welcome back. Thank you kindly for watching that break, folks. It's been 30 minutes since we played our last one. As we get here into game number 3. Spawning here in the lower right, but already on his way out, it is the Blue Terran, ByuN.
And top left has the red Protoss. He is Classic.
People want to know what that HP bar is. So if you are unaware or unfamiliar with the stream, this is called Bit Boss. Sometimes we have prizes associated with this, and sometimes it's just for the cool powers you get in chat. Which, by the way, if you at any point are the Bit Boss, make sure you type !boss glory. Get that rare boss loot that can be claimed once an hour. But yeah, if you cheer bits or donate money or any combination of the two, you'll deal damage to the boss. Killing it makes you the boss, and the more you kill it, the more health your boss will have. It's just a fun little stream game, I guess. But anyways, this is about as direct as it gets. I mean, this is like yeah, it's gonna rally onto the onto the ramp. So
yes, it is.
I'm not sure if Classic will do this. You know, there's been a pretty nasty case. You watch players like Neeb especially are guilty of delaying their mothership cores, for example, in favor of getting faster Stargates and what have you.
Yeah.
If he does, this is gonna get like 4 probe kills easy peasy.
I just feel like it's been so long since Neeb was one of the only guys that seems to get punished for not getting the mothership core. I always feel bad bringing that up.
I feel like it's not wrong though, because he will consistently play a little bit greedy, quote unquote, around the mothership core, right? But then lose a game and then immediately get it right away every game following.
Sure, but I think that it's any Protoss. Like a lot of Protosses will always be skipping that for the Stargate, for instance. But in this case, Classic's gonna one base it anyway, so he should get a mothership core perfectly timed.
Well, a bunker is possibly being what in the heck? If that completes, this is actually so devastating. But
very unlikely.
The adept on the way should be able to keep this from getting too out of hand.
I did go for the proxy Stargates, not the pylon rush, so that mothership core is still being delayed a little bit. Once that gas for the Oracle, and now that he's forced to put his gas mining probes,
finish the bunker.
Trying to take care.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Looks pretty close.
If that adept had got to chase the Reaper instead, that would have actually finished for sure.
Well, now Classic doesn't have enough to get an Oracle and Mothership core right off the bat. It is just the proxy Reaper, no proxy factory for a Cyclone follow-up or something like that. He doesn't know that quite yet. Now Reapers.
ByuN's actually in a bit of trouble. Well, he's been really screwing with the economy probes getting pulled, shot down, etc. he has to get a turret out, but they won't finish in time. So this might just be GG. Oh, sorry, I guess the score's wrong side up on one, guys.
So it's dangerous, of course, but this turret is going to be at least halfway done, and the Cyclone can cover with the tiniest little bit of anti-air. So he's going to need to, yeah, put all the SCVs to try and finish that, and it's still going to lose like 6 or 7. Actually 9. Sacrifice of the Oracle, though.
It's a very adequate amount of damage, though. 9 workers down, and ByuN on 16 is not terrible for Terran, but after not causing that much damage on the other side of the field, he's certainly feeling the burn. Also, yo, big shouts. First off, Nexi Kuro takes a small stab at the bit boss, but then Riomar comes in, big dick swinging 3,000 bits to say, hell yeah, boss glory.
Thank you very much.
Riomar is now the bit boss. Man, okay, I gotta ask you, because I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. Riomar was like talking about his like sword being gone. Do you know anything about this? I feel like I'm getting memed on, but I'm not sure to what degree.
No, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, never mind then.
All right then. So pretty important scouting from the Viking. Obviously, ByuN is still scouting with the Reapers, so I mean, both hand in hand, he sees lack of a Nexus and also proxy pylon. Hey, that's going to be a lot of pressure. But it is important to know exactly how this is going to go down, and it is going to be with the power of at least one Void Ray.
So this is where I'm a little bit jaded. I think first off, there's not going to be anything else coming out of the Stargate done correctly, but a Viking kiting correctly can already deal with a Void Ray, which it's not doing. Oh jeez. But 3 Cyclones locking onto it can also outrun the Void Ray MO situations, but ByuN handles this very messy and frankly poorly right off the bat.
Yeah. It was good of Classic not to overcharge. The speed actually would affect that engagement a lot, but you know, he's still producing Cyclones.
Overcharge?
He doesn't have Barracks production. That's called overcharge, right? I feel like.
Oh, the Void Ray. Yeah, okay. Prismatic Alignment was doing. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no Mothership core here. How the hell is he gonna overcharge?
I feel like that's what people were calling it before the Mothership charge. But no, it is Prismatic Alignment, and it does slow the Void Ray down considerably, so that would have been the worst thing to do.
It totally makes more sense to call it overcharging too, right? Because it's kind of like,
yeah,
what you do.
I feel like that's what it was. All right, in my defense, but
do you remember some of the early Phoenix abilities, by the way?
What do you mean?
They had a quote-unquote overcharge ability too, where Phoenixes would unleash like 40 attacks in 2 seconds, but then they couldn't attack for like the next like 15.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh, it was like the coolest looking thing. I don't know if anyone's got beta footage videos handy or not, but they would do this like you know how they got the 2 attacks that come from the side?
Yeah.
Like it was like that, but it came from like 8 different sides. I don't know how to describe it. It was really cool. That was like a true overcharge.
All right.
This is going to be pretty annoying to hold. If he lands the Vikings, he's not going until the Oracle's gone, but if he landed the Vikings here too, these are going to kill Stalkers and Sentries easily.
Yeah, even without the help of the Vikings, the Cyclones ripped through most of that army in Classic. Well, he's always going to be in trouble because he tried to have an attack, and that attack did ultimately fail, so a counterattack was in order from ByuN.
Tried to have an attack, tried to have an opinion. No, this is, if this kills the Nexus, I mean, like, he can't stop this. Even with as low as these are, here comes a Banshee now to top things off. It's got Cloak.
Yeah. GG.
Pretty good series, I gotta say. I'm very happy to see ByuN takes it 2-1 as they move on to fight against Stats next. Also, with Riomar's 3,000 bits and BitBoss Etude, he also gets a brand new chat badge, upgrading from green. Now he's got that yellow butthole. Thank you, Riomar.
If your butthole's that red, you got problems.
Well,
Just saying.
I don't see color. I'm not racist, so I think all buttholes are equal, personally.
Should really read this article. No, I'm just kidding. That's gross.
I actually saw a Reddit thread on this the other day, Rifkin. I'll have you know.
Super gross.
All right, we're gonna go to another commercial break. I know you guys just saw one. Sit tight. We'll be back ASAP with what should be ByuN vs Stats, I think, when we return.